Hey, have you ever wondered how the media dissects high-profile celebrity marriages?
Oh, it is a wild process to watch.
It really is. Imagine this a couple whose every single public handhold, every microscopic shift in facial expression, or just like a subtle glance, is intensely scrutinized for hidden cracks and ulterior motives.
Right, like they're living under a microscope 24/7.
Exactly. Stick around till the end of this deep dive, because what I'm about to share will completely change how you think about the narratives built around public figures.
Yeah, it really shifts your whole perspective.
So don't go anywhere, you're about to discover something awesome. But first, don't forget to smash that like button and hit subscribe, because we've got tons of fun coming your way. Let's dive right in.
Let's do it. So today we are unpacking a very specific piece of media commentary. It's a YouTube segment from Neil Sean's Daily News headlines.
Okay, got it.
And the video is titled, and this is all in caps by the way, "Marriage Cracks in Oz, Furious with Markle After This."
Well, okay, not holding back that title.
No, definitely not. But before we go any further into the weeds of this specific video, we really need to set the framework for this deep dive.
Please do, because obviously we are dealing with some very charged material here.
We are. This source material is highly opinionated, right? And it is extremely critical of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle.
Right.
So as we go through this, I want to be crystal clear to you listening. We are not taking sides.
Totally. Not all.
We are not endorsing this commentator's viewpoints, and we aren't, like, debunking his factual claims either. Our mission today is strictly analytical.
We just want to look at how the sausage is made, basically.
Exactly. We are going to impartially report on and dissect the rhetorical strategies he uses. How does a commentator manufacture a rivalry out of thin air?
Right, and the way this specific commentator builds his case is honestly a masterclass in narrative framing.
It really is.
Like, instead of just jumping right into a list of rumors or supposed fights, he starts by setting up these two intensely contrasting character profiles.
Setting the stage, basically.
Yeah, he casts them in two very different opposing roles before he even introduces a conflict. So let's start with Meghan.
Okay.
He describes her as a master of the painted face.
The painted face. Wow.
Right. Basically, he's telling the audience that she is someone who will smile through absolutely anything, no matter what is happening behind closed doors. And specifically, she does this to ensure that the media cannot see any cracks in her life.
We really need to pause on that phrase, painted face. Because rhetorically, it is doing a massive amount of heavy lifting here.
Oh, completely.
It doesn't just describe someone who is, polite or professional in public. It instantly implies deception.
It makes it sound sinister.
Right. It suggests to the viewer that her public demeanor is just an artificial mask designed to conceal some darker truth. It primes the audience to look at any positive image of her and automatically assume, oh, that's a lie.
Yeah, it sets this baseline where anything she does in public is inherently suspicious. And then the contrast he builds when he pivots to Harry is so stark.
Oh, it's night and day.
It really is. He paints Harry as petulant, fragile, and a quote-unquote professional victim.
Professional Vic, right.
According to the source, Harry is the exact opposite of the painted face.
Okay.
He's the kind of guy who easily shows his moods. Like, he lets the world know exactly if he's happy or unhappy in that exact second.
So he's framing him as someone who fundamentally struggles to face cruel realities.
Yes, exactly.
Which is a fascinating psychological setup. The commentator is using these specific clashing personality traits to lay the foundation for an inevitable collision.
He's building a powder keg.
What's fascinating here is how he tells his audience, look at this volatile mixture. You have one person who is hyper-aware of the camera and aggressively manages her image.
Right. And
she's permanently attached to someone who is highly reactive, emotionally transparent, and supposedly prone to falling apart at the slightest provocation.
It's almost like the commentator sees Meghan as this highly trained stage actor who never ever drops character.
Oh, I love that analogy.
Right. Like, she knows where the audience is, she's hitting her marks, finding her light, and he sees Harry as this raw method actor who just can't hide it when he's having a bad day off script.
That is brilliant. And the problem with a method actor living with a stage actor is that they require completely different scripts to survive the spotlight.
Totally.
The commentator actually points to a specific recent event to illustrate this exact dynamic.
Oh, the hospital visit.
Yes, an appearance they made at a children's hospital in Australia. He frames their behavior there, specifically their hand-holding, and Meghan clasping her chest in reaction to the crowd as this highly rehearsed performance.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he claims she acted like she didn't know all these people were going to be wheeled out for her delectation and delight.
He actually calls the hospital visit a joint double act that requires intense work to maintain.
Right, a double act. And by framing a standard charity visit like that, the commentator is basically suggesting that their marriage itself is a public relations campaign.
That's a huge leap.
It is. He argues that the moment any cracks appear in that performance, the public will seize upon it. The underlying premise is that Harry doesn't actively court the cameras or know how to manipulate them the way Meghan supposedly does.
Okay, hold on. I want to challenge a piece of the commentator's premise here.
Go for it.
Specifically, this whole label of Harry as a professional victim. I don't buy the logic he's using.
How so?
Well, he claims Harry complains despite having a life of immense wealth, wonderful education, and total privilege. But even the commentator himself admits, kind of in an offhand way, that Harry has faced real profound family tragedy on a global stage.
Yes, he does briefly mention that.
So how does the commentator reconcile calling someone a professional victim while simultaneously acknowledging they've been through actual documented trauma?
Well, that is the critical tension in the commentator's argument, and it reveals a lot about how celebrity media operates.
Okay, unpack that for me.
In his view, Harry's immense privilege essentially negates his right to complain.
Really? Just because of the money?
Yeah. The commentator acknowledges the tragedy. He literally says that happens in all families. But he immediately undercuts it by adding, well, it's never enough for Harry.
So the logic is basically, you're rich, therefore your sadness is completely invalid.
Precisely. It's a very common media framing. He's feeding the audience this idea that wealth and status should act as an emotional buffer. Because Harry has material comfort, his emotional grievances must be illegitimate.
Oh, I see. It's a strategy to make him seem ungrateful.
Exactly. Which then gives the audience moral permission to judge and criticize him without feeling any guilt.
That makes total sense. He has to strip away the audience's empathy for Harry to make the rest of the narrative work.
Yeah.
And that hyper-awareness of the camera we talked about with Meghan makes even more sense when you look at how he frames their professional lives. Because the narrative suddenly shifts from they have clashing personalities to they are fighting a ruthless, zero-sum battle for box office dominance.
This is where the architecture of the story gets very, very intricate.
It really ramps up here.
He argues that Harry sees himself as the, and I quote, #1 royal.
The star name pulling in the money, right?
Right. And he frames Meghan as the also-ran who merely married into the family and is just trading on his legacy.
But the twist the source introduces is that while Harry might have the royal bloodline, Meghan supposedly possesses the tactical, cutthroat media savvy.
The street smarts, essentially.
Exactly. He portrays her as someone who knows exactly how to manipulate headlines to her advantage, even if it comes at her own husband's expense.
And he gives a highly specific example of this, doesn't he?
Yes, he gives a supposed real-time example of this internal sabotage. If you're listening right now, take a second to think about your own thoughts on this dynamic. Like, how often do we assume the worst about coworkers or partners having separate successes?
It's a really interesting thing to reflect on.
And hey, make sure to comment below your thoughts because I love hearing from you.
And trust me, you don't want to miss the exciting part. At the end of the video, it's a game changer.
It really is.
Yeah.
So according to the commentator, Harry is out there giving a heartfelt, serious speech about mental health and his own personal traumas.
Okay, a very serious endeavor.
But then Meghan counters this.
Counters it.
Yeah, that's how he frames it.
No.
By bringing up what the commentator calls the old chestnut about being the most trolled person in the world, and by simultaneously launching an announcement that she's going to be a celebrity judge on Australian MasterChef.
Oh, wow. Pay attention to the language the commentator uses to describe the scheduling overlap because it is incredibly dramatic.
Dramatic is an understatement. He doesn't just say her MasterChef announcement overshadowed his speech. He tells his audience that Meghan's cooking show announcement wiped Harry's mental health speech off the Richter scale.
Off the Richter scale.
Yes, he says it literally blew his serious endeavors to smithereens, and that this calculated PR move made Harry absolutely furious behind the scenes.
And the commentator actually takes it a step further and compares them to Vivien Leigh and Laurence Olivier.
Wait, really? The classic Hollywood couple?
Yes. Let's unpack that comparison because it is a masterful rhetorical device.
Okay, I'm listening.
By invoking a famously tempestuous, highly theatrical, and ultimately tragic marriage from Hollywood's golden age, he is subliminally telling his audience how this story ends.
Oh, that is sneaky.
Right. If we connect this to the bigger picture, he is solidifying the idea that the Sussexes are not a normal husband and wife trying to navigate life. They are rival performers locked in a bitter feud.
Wow.
It frames modern celebrity marriage not as a supportive partnership, but as a zero-sum game for column inches.
But again, I have to stop and push back on this assumption because it feels like a massive, massive leap.
Okay, what part?
Well, think about real life. If my spouse gets a huge promotion at work, the exact same week I have to give a major presentation, we celebrate both things. It's a busy week, but it's a good week.
Right, normal couple behavior.
Exactly. So why is this commentator insisting that two working people having overlapping projects must be a calculated, malicious attempt at sabotage?
It's a fair question.
Couldn't the timing of a TV show announcement and a conference speech just be a coincidence handled by two entirely different corporate PR teams on different continents?
I mean, logically, of course it could be a coincidence, but in the ecosystem of celebrity commentary, coincidences don't generate clicks, and they certainly don't sustain a daily news show.
Right. It's not a juicy story if it's just a calendar clash.
Exactly. We are looking at a classic example of confirmation bias being weaponized. The commentator has already decided the marriage is a battlefield.
So every piece of data has to fit that theory.
Yes. Therefore, every single data point, even a mundane scheduling overlap, must be interpreted as an act of war. Furthermore, the commentator is operating from a highly cynical view of what he calls press intrusion.
Oh, right. He spends a lot of time on that specific phrase.
He does.
Yeah.
He argues that Harry constantly complains about press intrusion, but the real irony, according to the source, is that Harry's biggest source of press intrusion is sitting right next to him.
You mean Meghan?
Yes. He alleges that Meghan will not stop seeking the limelight, that she continually looks for the paparazzi to ensure they get the ideal shot, and that she meticulously plans her moves to make sure she gets the headlines first.
So he's essentially telling his audience, Harry thinks the media is the problem, but the real problem is that his wife is the media.
Exactly. The narrative asserts that Harry genuinely believes people are interested in his philanthropic or mental health work, but that Meghan knows how to play this superficial tabloid game much better.
And because she plays it better, she easily wipes his serious work off the map with a reality TV announcement.
Yep, it's a deeply entrenched narrative of internal sabotage.
Okay, so we have the painted face mask, we have the explosive MasterChef PR battle, and you would think that's the peak of the commentary.
You would think so.
But the absolute most revealing part of this entire video happens when the commentator takes a completely unexpected tangent.
Yeah.
Right in the middle of dissecting global royalty, the commentator pivots to a story about a random woman he met at a bus stop.
Ah, yes. The story of Kath at Victoria Station.
It's so bizarrely folksy. He just stops the royal analysis and says, by the way, I met a lovely lady named Kath waiting for the bus.
It comes totally out of nowhere.
Literally nowhere. And he explains that Kath had recently received some terrible news and was going through a very dark time. But she had just gotten a fresh haircut.
Right, the haircut.
And the commentator goes out of his way to mention the exact details that the hairdresser told Kath the cut made her look 10 years younger and 25 from the back.
On the surface, it seems like a completely random tangent, but rhetorically, it is a highly calculated move. It's a classic populist persuasion technique.
How so? Like, what is he trying to achieve there?
Think about what this anecdote does for the commentator's credibility. By introducing Kath, he is establishing his own everyman ethos.
Oh, like he's just a regular guy.
Exactly. He's showing his audience, look, I'm not just a cynical media critic sitting in a studio. I'm a kind, normal guy who talks to everyday people at bus stops and genuinely cares about their struggles.
That is so manipulative. It lowers the audience's defenses and makes him seem highly trustworthy and empathetic.
It absolutely does.
And he pours on the empathy for Kath. He praises her profusely for putting on a brave face, for staying positive despite her dark times.
He even tells her to get a treat, right?
Yes, he encourages her to treat herself to an extra sweet or an ice cream and not to give in to the sadness. But the whiplash is incredible because immediately after wishing Kath well, he pivots straight back to tearing into Meghan.
The transition is brutal.
It really is. He claims that Meghan's status as a trolled person only happens because she, quote, tells lies, specifically bringing up her alleged involvement in a tell-all book designed to upset Harry's family.
Right.
And this is where I really struggle with the commentator's logic, because there is a massive glaring double standard here.
Okay, let's unpack this double standard.
He spends a significant portion of his segment praising a random woman at a bus stop for bravely putting on what is essentially a painted face to hide her dark times. He thinks Kath is an absolute hero for smiling through her pain.
Yes, she's celebrated for it.
But he just spent the first half of the video completely villainizing Meghan for supposedly doing the exact same thing in public. Why is Kath's brave face a profound virtue, but Meghan's painted face is a sinister deception?
This raises an important question, and that double standard is the very crux of how celebrity narratives are engineered. The commentator grants immense empathy to Kath because she is a relatable outsider.
She is ordinary.
Exactly, she represents the audience.
She literally gets a sweet treat and an ice cream as a reward for her bravery.
Right, but he aggressively denies that exact same empathy to the royals because, in his narrative framework, they are not ordinary people, they are commodities.
Commodities. Wow.
They are public figures who, by virtue of their fame and wealth, owe the public total transparency. In the commentator's rules of engagement, when Kath hides her sadness, it's bravery. When a celebrity hides marital tension or personal struggle, it's a calculated manipulation of the public trust.
It's basically saying that once you reach a certain level of fame, you lose the right to basic human privacy mechanisms.
Exactly. You are no longer allowed to just smile when you don't feel like it.
And the commentator justifies this harsh treatment by framing Meghan not as someone dealing with normal struggles, but as an instigator who brings the trolling on herself because she tells lies.
He has to create that moral separation. He has to explain to the audience why it's okay to feel sorry for Kath, but it's acceptable, even righteous, to scrutinize and mock Meghan.
And he ties it all back to Harry too, right?
Yes, he uses this concluding section to further push the narrative of Harry's submission within the marriage. He claims that Harry has capitulated to Meghan, that he has essentially rolled over and given up his agency.
Wow. Capitulated.
The source points out that Harry is constantly writing tributes, speaking on podcasts, and sending letters about how terrific and wonderful Meghan is, while alleging that you never see her reciprocating that public adoration.
Which, again, ties perfectly back into his overarching theme that she is the calculating PR mastermind.
Yeah.
And he is the fragile method actor desperately trying to keep up.
Precise.
So if we look at the complete architecture of what this commentator has built, it really isn't just a daily gossip update. It's an incredibly intricate story designed to confirm a specific bias.
It's extremely calculated.
He set up Meghan as a hyper-aware, fame-seeking actress hiding behind a painted face. He set up Harry as a wealthy but fragile man who can't handle the spotlight. He's pitted them against each other in this zero-sum game where a MasterChef gig is viewed as a tactical strike to destroy a mental health speech.
Right.
And finally, he's used a random lady at a bus stop to prove that he's capable of profound empathy. He just actively chooses to withhold it from them.
That is a perfect summary of the narrative structure we've just analyzed. It relies on stark contrasts, assumed motivations, the weaponization of coincidence, and a very specific set of rules regarding who is allowed to control their public image.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now?
That's the big question.
Because honestly, even if you don't follow celebrity gossip or care about the royals at all, this deep dive shows how easily a cohesive, persuasive narrative can be constructed out of completely normal, everyday things.
Absolutely.
We all curate our own painted faces for the world, right? We all post the smiling vacation photo, even if we had a massive argument with our partner on the way to the airport.
Of course we do.
When someone looks at your life, or a coworker's life, or a celebrity's life, and reads intensely into every single action, are they seeing the objective truth? Or are they just looking for data points to confirm the story they've already decided they want to tell?
And that leads us to a final, rather provocative thought to leave you with today.
Ooh, let's hear it.
We've spent this time looking at how a media commentator constructs a narrative of marital cracks based on highly scrutinized public appearances and mundane scheduling conflicts. But if a highly publicized relationship is constantly analyzed as a toxic competition for headlines, if every polite smile is called a fake painted face, and every separate career project is labeled an act of sabotage, does that intense public and media scrutiny eventually create the very cracks they are looking for?
Wow. Like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Exactly. It's the observer effect applied to human relationships. Is the media merely reporting on the fire, or by constantly searching for a spark, are they the ones striking the match?
Are they striking the match? That is such a fascinating psychological concept to leave on. Do the headlines eventually write the reality?
It really makes you wonder.
Trust me, exploring these underlying media mechanics is an absolute game changer for how you consume the news. It really makes you look at every headline, every opinion piece, and every bus stop anecdote completely differently.
It really does.
Don't forget to subscribe and share this with your friends who'd love this too. Keep questioning what you read, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.